That's where I come through. You'll notice you don't see a trail. Of course you don't. That's where we do most of our swimming. That's actually where I set up that tent a couple of days ago out there in that sun-baked plain. It's pretty good. Even I got a sunburn even in the shade, of course. This is where the delta gets kind of marshy. It's kind of dried up right now. I almost thought about going out to a few of my favorite places way out there, but they're way out there. That tends to be when I'm feeling like tons and tons of energy. Whoa. Tons and tons of energy, I'll go out there. Right now, like, I'm just getting better from being sick. I feel recovered, though I feel tired still. Mostly because I haven't eaten in like 4 days. I've eaten just very little. Mostly like fruit and vegetables. I tried to eat a sandwich, ate half a sandwich. It is a nice sound, isn't it, Ted? This one's also, here comes the craft beer neck. Oh, ow, did that hurt? 1, 2, 3. Cap goes in pocket. That's my catchphrase. Everybody's welcome to use it. Except for Dorf. Screw you, Dorf. Durf. Malt liquor. This isn't going to be a 40 and 10. I was going to be talking to my buddy Josiah! Soul Josiah! What up, Soul? If that is your real name. Good job on that train video you did, by the way. I'm still thinking about that. Soul was sitting in a train station, and to the right, the frame was divided right in half. The right side of the frame was a place where you wait for the train, you know, the seats, the trash cans, the cubicles, the benches, all being replicated to seemingly infinity. And then the train track going out into darkness on the left with a border of trees. It's kind of like natural transition state, which is the train, and then the unnatural, the train station. That was one fine malt liquor video. I feel like I'm in no hurry. I've got the entire day. I got my boss gave me an extra day off, and I called in sick for 3 days. So I have like 6 days to recover. So I'm just trying to take it easy with malt liquor. Actually, I am seriously trying to take it easy with malt liquor. Like yesterday I had that 1 24-ouncer, and today I'll have this 40. And I brought a bunch of water, a bunch more fruit, and there's some bagels. But anyway, I wanted to get to Soul's question. Josiah's question was about stealing. Rugby. Can you steal somebody's husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend? Or, you know, should you? Is it stealing? What do I think about it? I don't like that at all. Not because there's a thing, not because I'm afraid of losing my girlfriend to some guy. I've had that happen. And actually, that particular girlfriend said, you were very mature in our breakup. And I'm like, well, yeah, actually, it's like, I mean, I said, yeah, I'm glad you feel that way. You know, I love you, so I want what's best for you, what makes you happy. What I was thinking was, any girl who's dating you and then goes straight into some other guy's arms, that's not who I want in my life. You know, the whole idea, like, I do hope that the reason that took place was because that person was the better man for her, and not a kind of like a mode of operandi, like just how she behaves. Moving from one man to the next with no interruption and actually overlap. Like the whole idea of being single is so abhorrent to her that she needs like continuous male companionship, just an ever-shifting cast of characters as far as the males go. Yeah, that didn't bother me at all to lose her. She actually, that's the other thing she said. She's like, you don't have a jealous bone in your body. When I found out they'd been dating while we were dating. I'm like, no, not really. Like, what other than kind of like making me a little sick to my stomach, The same variety of like, oh really, I ate off, I ate off that plate, and it was just like, no, I doesn't. That's not. I didn't. I don't feel like I lost anything. Also, here's the other thing too. Part about being a wizard is I don't feel necessarily that I possess anything or wish to possess anything, which really helps if you don't ever want to be jealous or incapacitated by a heartbreak. It's not a distance thing either, because actually, like, I love a large amount of people, both men and women. And the thing is, like, here's the thing about love. Same thing with every other emotion, soul, is that as being human beings, we paint with color crayons. I'm not doing like, the magentas and the cerulean blues. I'm doing blue, white. That where music and poetry come from is our striving to paint with those finer shades. But that's striving for. That's not what we have built into us. What we have built into us is like the 5-pack of colors. So what I mean by that is there's a color crayon for me that just says love. And I think that you can measure how hard, you can't measure when I'm writing love, the variations of that color. It's all the same color. I think that it's how often I write it and how hard I press down tells you the depth of my love. I mean, there's some people that I love. I remember one particular person that I just thought they were the bee's knees. And they left, and people thought I was going to be distraught. But it didn't change my love for them. It just changed their proximity to me. Actually, they were still available to me. I could still, call them and write them and see them on Facebook and stuff like that. And then eventually, when they moved back to Portland, I was kind of like, that's the solar system of love. Sometimes the bodies that you love have greater orbits. They come around and they disappear out into the blackness of space, and they come swinging back around the sun, and then in your life again, or not. The desire that they need to be, some sort of requirement to love them that they need to be in your life, is where the whole disappointment and heartbreak thing comes from. Loving somebody should be only on the condition that you do. Bumper sticker. Foolish Productions, if you're watching that, be sure to put that in the line. Be sure to put that in the sentence. Because afterwards, after my malt and a day in the sun, I forget the things that I say that I particularly like. Yeah, have you actually, Lord of the Rings, when we see Gandalf going to visit Galadriel. Galadriel, is her name right? You see love in his eyes when he greets her. And you see love in hers. And kind of like a restrained love, she has to be something for her people. But you could tell that, like, when they meet separately and alone, that she could express it more fully. You could tell that it's not there. Just Gandalf, being a wizard, gets to express it more freely, like the Earl. Someone like Galadriel, let's call her a goddess. She is more than human beings. Like the whole human beings of like someone sleeping with so and so's boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or anything like that. That's beyond. So a princess is beyond that. A goddess is beyond that. That's living in squalor, swapping around the dinner table. A goddess has to represent more and be more, because she is more and can be more and has more to do. A regular relationship for a goddess is not necessarily what we would recognize as a regular one. She has a very full life, major goals to attain that perhaps only she could attain. And amongst that, and touching base with that, might be her god or her hero. Or her prince or king. who also is very much in the same position. So they occasionally touch base. Their love for each other isn't based on the fact that they're not like this, not like one unit. Let's go be king and queen together. My chair's right next to your chair. Because that whole, don't you have something to do in that room with the people who show up there? Because I have something to do in another room, or out in the field, or at someone's home that needs to be done. You know, my goals need to be met. And sometimes those goals will coincide. I imagine hit with double the thunder, being a god and goddess involved. I'm kind of prepared to talk about this for a bit too. Alright, so then there's other creatures to love. Other creatures that are not quite that human, but have those human traits. The whole swapping around the dinner table thing. Table swap. There are the elementals, which is what end up, in my experience, not knowing very many wizards, but knowing me, are who I end up with. The ladies I end up are more elemental. You know, the full-on, passionate, beautiful, creative, full of wonder and information. Changeable from day to day or moment to moment, safe yet dangerous. You know, what attracts people to sail the seas is what attracts wizards to elementals. You know, the forest nymphs, the sea, I wouldn't call them sea goddesses. They're more like representations of aspects of the sea. But you know, earthy or fluid and ever-changing. And why that appeals to me as being a wizard is that once again, like, you could respect and love nature and the water, but yet realize that you can't harness it or tame it. And that's the thing I don't want to. I wouldn't want to. I want to appreciate that for what it is. But yet being a wizard, being exposed to these elements, these elementals, they're used to having that elemental effect on people, on humankind. It's probably why they mostly, you know, the stories of people like a dryad is an excellent example of a sea creature, like a sea power. You know, are kissing the mermaids. They are the doom of humankind, but not of wizards. So like, you know, the lashing rain or the branches come crashing down. Wizards are prepared for and more than capable of handling such a thing. And when the time comes to leave the water or the forest, the wizard does not look back. That isn't something, the past isn't something that you regret or want to hold on to. It's something that you cherish and makes your life richer. All right, well, there's another kind of person, and these kind of people that I really, really hardly ever encounter. But I definitely recognize them. I also recognize the pretenders, that I think the pretenders have potential. I think all pretenders have potential to be a hero or a heroine. They're so freaking rare. So rare. It's actually where I mostly got my concept of actually true intelligence. There are people that are not particularly intelligent in any one thing. Can certainly, over a period of time, master most anything. So a lot of times you think of them as intelligent because they could do this one thing, and they spent 5-8 years learning that one thing. They could have spent 5-10 years learning anything. And got that same level of mastery. They're the heroes and the heroines, and how they fall into the relationship, and they're not table swappers, for one. They don't want it doesn't even occur to them that someone else's table leavings might be delicious. Oh, you're not going to finish what's on your plate? I'll have a little of that. Though they don't necessarily make the best partners, the best boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, and wives for somebody who isn't prepared to understand how to best love a hero or a heroine. they're very much like gods and goddesses, which is typically why if I was going to recommend to a god or goddess to get involved with another person, I would suggest a hero, because it's very, very similar. Very similar makeup and activity, yet a total difference in focus. For instance, a god marrying a goddess, a king marrying a queen, you could tell they are about the others, their kingdom, or about the people within their in their sphere of influence. A hero is more interested in what they're capable of. It's not a selfish thing at all, actually. It's like you discover that the joy of jumping or whatnot. I'm just being stared at. You explore the joy of jumping and think, what other aspects of there are this? How far can this go? What can I do, and what more could I do? What's the pinnacle? And is that the pinnacle only because that is thought of as the pinnacle? Or is that just the best somebody did, the latest? Maybe I could do better. I waved at those folks and they stopped staring at me. So yeah, I think a god or a goddess that does not want to date a god or a goddess, or a king or a queen, that does not want to date or marry a king or a queen, which I would totally understand that outward focus at all time, that responsibility to be this one thing. I would find that wearying. So they might still want that in their life, but they don't actually want that the other half of their life being like that. So they might like a hero or a heroine, somebody that's like personally attaining great and good deeds. And the thing is about being a king or a queen or a god or a goddess is occasionally you might need some pretty amazing deeds done. And wouldn't it be great if that hero accepted that and gave that to you as kind of a token of their love? I'll give you a great example, and I don't know much about this couple. She was a professional. I'm pretty sure she was a doctor, and I'm also pretty sure she was kind of a big thing. And he was more of I'll call him like a triathlete. He was really into the physical realm, and actually liked to go travel to physical events. And I met him at a martial arts competition. And it was like his 6th or 7th belt in a different category of martial arts. And he was going to marry this, I would definitely call her a goddess. He was going to marry this goddess, this hero. And he played the violin, and I believe that he played the violin in college, and I think also the piano, and that actually was one of his main sources of financial support during that time. And so he learned this piece of violin music to play at his wedding. And there was a couple musicians in the room, and they said that the piece he's playing was, I want to call it concert level, but they led me to believe that that piece he was playing, to play it to perfection, would require either like a virtuoso or somebody who their life was music and they were like the first chair in this orchestra, first chair violin. So the fact that this person who was neither, but just devoted all his attention, all his time to this one piece, they found it extraordinary. And almost one of my friends and I almost kind of wanted to say, like, he was a little bit grumpy about it, almost disbelieving that this person had mastered this piece before his wedding, rather than having been playing it for like 10 years. But I believed it because the guy was a goddamn hero. So I guess soul, in summation, I wonder how long this is. In summation, I would say like the doings of men and women around the dinner table, the fact that I'm not unaware, the whole taking somebody's girlfriend, or girlfriends leaving their boyfriend for another boyfriend, or their old boyfriend, or the new boyfriend, or the next boyfriend, or girlfriend, or whatever, or just as many girls as this guy could rack up, or whatever like that. It just seems like a bunch of people in the restaurant acting like hogs. Not pigs, because like my respect for pigs since Facebook, oddly enough, has raised to such a level that I've stopped eating pork. It was actually raised to such a level that I didn't even like consciously say I'm not going to eat pigs anymore. I just stopped doing it. Yeah, so as a wizard, it's something I'm aware of. It's not something I'm necessarily concerned of, even as it affects me. It affects me, actually, here's the thing where it affects me the most, Soul. I've been single for a long time, and I broke that stretch for the lovely Irma, because Irma's a forest goddess, and how wonderful that was to have her in my life for that period of time. But I don't. I think the things like I don't expect a life with a forest goddess to go for a long, long time. It's possible. And I'm not against that possibility. I'd love to spend the rest of my life with a forest goddess. So I guess, just like being open to that. Oh, those people I waved to are now circling me. They're circling closer. They want to see what I'm doing. So a wizard is open to that, but that's not the wizard's life. Those things sometimes pop up. They come and go. And eventually, maybe there'll be a heroine or a goddess, or maybe more like a queen that appreciates a court wizard. Sometimes some solutions don't need a hero. Sometimes they need a wizard. Sometimes they need the focus, contemplation, and planning, and the pre-preparation that only a wizard can bring to a problem. Oh. And the other thing about being a wizard is people become curious as to the things you're up to. Oh, I shouldn't complain. I'll show you the folks, though. And I'll see you later, Soul Josiah. They're walking this way. They're a little closer than my camera makes them look. Oh, now they're walking away.